Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Momentum Monday. So there's a very powerful scene in a movie that maybe many of you have seen. It's Good Will Hunting. The scene is when Will and Shawn is the therapist, are starting to interact and trying to figure out boundaries between how they're going to communicate. Will is walking around Shawn's office looking for something to just connect with or relate. And Shawn has many books, but he finds himself staring at this watercolor painting that Shawn had painted. And in Will's savant manner, he proceeds to go through and describe what he assumes Shawn's life must be like or must have been like. Well, he ends up insulting Shawn, and there's a bit of an altercation. So Shawn then goes home in the movie, and you see him often thinking, you know, he's overwhelmed or weighed on about what Will said about his life. So the next time the two meet, they meet briefly in the office, but Shawn takes Will to a duck pond. And he sits down and he tells him, you know, basically, I was very bothered by what you said. I thought about it, and then something occurred to me, and I haven't thought about you since. And what he ultimately said was, you don't know me. You don't know who I am, where I've come from. He described being, you know, in a war and losing his best friend. He described his wife having, you know, treacherous cancer that he had to hold her hand through until she passed. And the lesson that was learned here was that when Shawn realized Will had no idea who he was or why he did what he did, then his commentary doesn't really matter. And that's the lesson that I want to share today. You know, we have interactions with people, and sometimes a person has one minute interaction with you and decides to make a judgment about who you are, what you are, and why you do what you do. But the real power comes from knowing who you are. And knowing who you are is a part of knowing where you came from, where you are now, where you're headed, and ultimately why you do what you do. Because when you understand the intention of why you do what you do, when people make comments, it doesn't really matter because they don't really know you or know why you do what you do. So I have a bit of an action item for you that's a little bit different. So instead of insulting or jumping to a judgment, let's think about raising each other up. Let's think about giving each other compliments and building each other up. You know, think about how you have felt when somebody gives you a compliment that you weren't expecting. It feels pretty amazing and it stays with you. Recently, I was at lunch with a friend and we were both wearing red shoes. And two separate ladies came up to us and said, "Man, we love your red shoes." So that stayed with me all day long. So instead of making a snap decision about who you think someone is based on one interaction, let's do snap compliments on people to try to make their day a little better than it was before they saw you. I hope you found this valuable. Hope you have a great Monday and a great week, and I'll see you next week.